he's getting it now.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Metal Customs. Today, of course, we're back on the 68 Mustang project. And what we're going to start out this video with is I got a rear end for this car that I would really like to make it fit. I know I've been on the forums and everything. I mean, actually, I'm an administrator on all Ford Mustangs. And a lot of people say that putting this rear end in, it's not a good fit, it's a lot of work. But to me, it would be well worth it. Let me show you what I picked up. Alright guys, I grabbed one out of an SN Mustang. This is out of a GT, so it is limited slip differential, 373 gear, and a disc brake setup. Everything you want for your classic car. And it's going to be a coil spring instead of leaf springs. So a lot better as far as handling, ride, performance, blah blah blah. You get the gist of it. But these things are a little wider than the rear end that comes in these cars, and there is a lot of work in order to get them fit correctly. But I think it's worth the time and trouble, and I think the customer will appreciate having a more modern disc brake rear end with the good gear and the limited slip differential. So let's sort of get this thing picked up. I got the transmission jack down there. That should help us move it around and get it halfway in its location and just see where we're at on this. Alright guys, we just have it setting underneath there, and honestly, what did we grab here? What size tire is this, Casey? 225 50R16.
Is it 16?
Yeah, 16.
This one Mustang puts on 15.
On a regular old Mustang rim, it's pretty much offset all out towards the outside. And, I mean, we got room. We definitely got room. But, what we've done, the first thing we've done is cut off them weird anti-hop shock things. Yeah, we got rid of them. They're just in the way. Now, we tried pulling our trailing arms up there. They will not go in. They're too long in the front. We'll have to do some custom work. Probably just make a set of trailing arms. But the biggest thing we want to see if the rear end will work, because there again, ideal rear end with the gear, the LSD, disc brakes and all. And we still have a decent amount of room in here to get a wider tire in this thing. Yeah, no doubt whatsoever. Depends on how we make our trailing arms locate. That's going to be the big thing. But I think this will work. It's going to be one of them, you can't just throw any tire on it. It's going to have to be a low profile. What did we have on it before, Casey? 235?
It's 235, 55, 17.
Yeah, and they were just way too tall and way too big. So it's going to have to be, I mean, it could be up to a 20-inch rim. We got some 20s back there that measure the exact same size with low-profile tires. We're basically, what did we say, 25 inches across?
Yeah, I think you could probably get 25 and a half, but that's pushing it, and that's definitely coming here and bend this up and don't hit hard bumps.
Yeah, so it'd be best to stick with like a 24-inch tire on this thing.
For sure.
Alright, we pulled the maroon Mustang in, robbed coil springs and the shocks off of it for test fitting. But now we've got to figure out this trailing arm system. So let's get it raised up here where we can get a better look at it and just see what we got going on. Alright, it looks like right there is where our rear end's going to be. I've done some remeasurement, trying to get her squared up, trying to get that pinion angle about where she needs to be. And these lower control arms from hole to hole need to be 21 inches. I'm currently trying to find some on the internet that are that length and are adjustable. Like I said earlier, the uppers, we can just get the 94 through 04 adjustable uppers and they work fine. But what I want to do is get some lower control arms in here. That way we're holding the rear end where it's supposed to be, and we can get our brackets made for our upper control arms and then do our coil springs. And that's a sequence of events I want to happen. But having to hunt up lower control arms or have some custom made or what have you is a bit of a time killer. So what we're going to do is I got this just some basic square tubing here. I've done marked it out. And them lines are at 21 inches. Well, actually, this line's at 23. But this one and that one make a 21-inch hole-to-hole spread. I'm going to cut and drill this square tubing, and that way we can get a couple bolts up in there and get that stuck up in there for a lower control arm for now. And that'll let us go ahead and get everything else done. So let me get that cut and drilled and get these old ones out of the way. All right. These will be our temporary lower control arms. Like I say, the holes are drilled exactly the same on each one. So this will position our rear end and keep it where we want it. Well, as y'all can see, I've got them in there on both sides. And like I say, the center hole to center hole is 21. That's what my tape measure is telling me I needed. I'm very glad I went ahead and made these because they don't work. But you never know until you try. I mean, look at this wheel gap back here. That's 4 inches. Look up here. That's like 2 1/4. So 22-inch would work just perfect in there instead of a 21, which I found some that are 22 inches center hole to center hole. Goes for a, let's see, late 60s to early 70s Chevelle. Yeah, the lowers, and they don't have the spring perches on them because we're going to put our springs on the rear end itself up to the frame. So we would like a nice, straight, slick-looking one. Well, cool. This tells me what I need to buy. So this wasn't wasted time, even though some people might say, well, that was a lot of time you put in just to make something incorrect. No, there was some time that I put in to learn exactly what I needed to order and my lengths and stuff. I mean, a lot of times you got to do things like this. And when I pushed the uppers up there, they barely did touch the floorboard, just scratched it. So when everything's come back an inch, that's going to be perfect. Well, I'll go ahead and order my lowers and uppers now that I know what I need. And while we're waiting on that, let's get into something else. Well, since we're waiting on the trailing arms for the rear end, we decided to go ahead and do our dash. For those y'all that have been following this build, if you'll remember, we said we was going to make this dash where it bolts in and out instead of permanently welded like it was factory. So that's what we're going to do today. Right now, Casey's stripping everything down. Took out the emergency brake lever. There's another lever here for the vent, for the fresh air vent to come in. And he's taking all the little ticklers and stuff off. And the wasp nest, are we keeping it or taking it?
Oh, we're definitely keeping it.
We're keeping the wasp nest. Okay, that's good stuff. But we'll do that. We'll get these edges all cleaned up with the grinder. And then we can actually put the dash in there. There's somewhere. I don't know where it went. You got the brace? Dog hit it? All right, brace. Yes, that brace that Casey's got. It goes from the dash up to the underneath of the cowl, which we got the old one in there as y'all can see, but it goes right over here and bolts up. That'll give us our height that we need. From there, we do the tabs on the side. All it was is come out here, had a 90 and it was welded in. Of course, we're going to make it with bolts in. Then we can tackle this piece up here. Big concurve, some weird bends going on. That's going to be a little bit of fun. but we'll get it taken care of. Well, let Casey get the rest of this stripped down and cleaned up, and then we'll get it in the vehicle and make this happen. According to the tape measure, that's where it's supposed to be, I do believe. Casey's re-measuring from different points. Like I say, we use these 1/4-inch thick pieces of steel. Casey's got a clamp up in there holding it and one over there. And we measured here exactly 1 inch down and 1 inch in. That's why we got the old one, so we got the measurements off of it. And it seems to be pretty much on the money. But Casey's going to do some re-measuring, and if that's where we like it, then we're going to go under the dash and put our 90s in. Let me show you how that works. All right under here. Y'all see that, right? That tab right there. 90's over, goes into here. Like I say, we're going to have a screw holding that in instead of it being welded. We'll weld the 90 here, then run as a screw in there. Then we can work on that top piece. Alright guys, we think we got that dash pretty close, but like Casey says, to be on the money, we should put the steering column in. Because that will donate where the dash sits, of course. Steering column bolts down to the firewall, and then that bracket bolts up to the dash. What is that, a bunch of 9/16s, Casey?
I have no idea.
Sure it is. Alright, well we'll get the bolts figured out. We'll get that bolted up, then we'll show y'all how that lines the dash. Alright, we finally got it where we want it. Yeah, we got little bottle jacks in there, we got everything holding it where it should be. Steering columns in, that was a good idea Casey had to get everything going right. Now Casey's saying, I think he said he wanted it to go to the right a little bit. No, we got them 1/4-inch pieces of steel in there. It should be centered. I'm going to wait, he's still at lunch, I'm going to let him look at it again. But if he likes that, which I like it, then we'll probably make our little 90-degree brackets on the bottom. I mean, the thing's running, I don't know if y'all can see that or not. She's level. When I put it on the dash, she's level. So, we got the level, so it's got to be pretty close, and I believe our gap there is correct. That's why we have the old one in, so we can measure off of it. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and bend up these little metal tabs and get them ready. And then when he comes back out, we'll look at it one more time and get them welded in and screwed in. Alright, got them made. Got a little weldable primer on them. Now, of course, circuit pressure kicked on and it's loud. Casey is drawing out. I don't know what he's drawing out. Yeah, I know what he's drawing out. What he's doing is getting this ready to cut. That'll be our filler piece. Goes between the cowl and the dash. We'll show you how we'll get that in there. But let him get this all marked out and we'll get her cut and do some test fitting. Alright guys, here's our piece. Yep, all done. We've got these brackets welded in. Yeah, don't look at that ugly weld. I'll clean it up. And in case he's got a screw in each side. That way we know where the dash is supposed to be. Now what we're going to do is let it down and weld in our top piece to our cowl. And we've got it all fixed up and ready to go. Alright, that piece is done. See how we got that step down in there. And I've got it all primered up. Now what I'm going to do, I got to get in here, do some welding there. But I think I'm going to go ahead and get this dash cleaned up and primered. I need to do a little bit more welding on my tabs on each side and get them ground down really smooth. As far as this goes, once we get the dash put in, we'll make us some tabs here that'll weld up to the car, but they will bolt in here. That way the dash, of course, stay fully removable. But yeah, a little time consuming, a lot of wire brushing going on, but I want to get this thing cleaned up. Alright, got that piece in there. Yeah, it's got a couple little ripples in it, that's no big deal. Once the dash goes on and gets a bunch of screws in it, it'll straighten right out. But yeah, that worked out just like I thought it would. Got her welded, got her primed. Now, I was working on the dash. Oh my. Yeah, this thing is terrible. I mean, not rust. I said surface rust on the inside. The inside wasn't too bad. I was able to get it cleaned up, prime it, and get some paint thrown on it. It's going to get body color later, but I just wanted something to protect it inside for now. But the outside, here's where I started over here. You can see how thick the paint. I don't know how many coats of paint's on this thing. So I'm going to probably grab my DA and some 80 and just hit this whole dash and just go crazy on it. Because I want it perfect, and I'm going to lay a lot of primer on her too. But for now, this will be good to where we can get it fitted in and get our little brackets that we need to make here, get our screws in, and get that finalized. But yeah, a lot of cleanup, a lot of priming on that dash. And what was that other? Yeah, this right here. I don't even know what went there, but somebody beat the crap out of that. The radio goes here. But that spot there, yeah. We'll figure out what goes there. And we'll try to get it straightened out. Gonna have to do some cutting and some metal in there. But we'll get it figured. Alright, well, I decided before I stick this in there, even though it's not being stuck in for permanent, I want to go ahead and see if I can get this thing cleaned up and get it primered. It's just killing me looking like this. So what I've done here, I've got my DA, I've got some 80, I've got some 400, and I've got some of the Scotch Brite to get in the little cracks and crevices and stuff like Y'all can see like right in here. Sander won't get in there really good. But I can get in there with that Scotch-Brite and take care of that and get all that paint out of there. But yeah, it is what it is. But I want to get it cleaned up and primed before we put it in. Well, we're getting there. Yeah, I'm stripping her plumb down. All I'm saying is a little surface rust, nothing major. Not even enough to really worry about. Primer will fill it up and get this thing smooth out. I mean, a dash is a big deal. It's the first thing you see when you sit inside the car. Now, I did get out my little old farmhand Hummer thing here with the disc pads on it, the Rolex disc. Yeah, them things clean really well. Alright, well, I'm going to give the compressor time to cool down. I think I about melted it out. I don't like a whole lot. I'll hit it with that 400 and then run over everything by hand with the Scotch-Brite pad. I'll clean it with alcohol, set it out in the sun, and get some primer on this thing. Alright, got her done and primed. Yeah, I ran out of primer, so all I can do is get a light coat on it. But we got all that crud off of it, all that black paint, and more importantly, all that rust. I had to use some etching primer on the top of it. Looks like I've run out of the welding primer, but order some more. But this will work for us to install and work with it. Yeah, it didn't turn out too bad. A couple of touch-ups here and there, but this dash will end up getting a really good coat of primer and sand it out properly so she'll be slick. Alright, well, I just brought that in from outside. It's hot. It's a hot day out there. So I'm going to let that cool down for a few minutes, got the fan on it, and get everything ready, and we'll get her installed. Got the center brace on each end. And no, I'm not leaving any screws here. I'll be using some Phillips head screws that are almost flush. Remember, you have the rubber window lip that goes here, then that big dash pad that covers all that up. And yes, I know what some of y'all are saying. It's going to be almost impossible to get out once the windshield's in. Well, the dash pad glues on, and well, it had glue on it, so I'm assuming it does. But with Phillips head screws in there, I mean, it would be a pain in the butt with the windshield in, but you could get the dash out if you had to. So I'm glad to make it where we have that option. All right, now all we need to do is fix this piece right here. Let me go ahead and make me up some pieces, run them up here and weld them, and then we'll get some bolts and nuts to go right there. All right, got them made. Got a good weld up there on each one of them. Yeah, that ain't going nowhere. Well, let's zap us a good screw in each one of these, and we will have this dash installed. And guys, that is a dash install. I grabbed the dash pad that came with the car. Now, as you can tell, it is cheap and it's been out in the sun and warped up really bad. But this gives y'all a general idea of how the fit goes. As you can see, this thing should come forward a whole lot more to the defrost. And that will put it right up under here where the rubber, windshield rubber goes on. But dash is in there just perfect. Yeah, that'll fit just fine. We'll probably end up getting another one of these. I don't know if he wants to reuse this one or not. It's not tore up, but all the holders and stuff on it have been ripped out and things like that, and some rigging done too. But that's totally up to the customer. If he wants me to use this one, I'll make it work. If not, we'll grab another one. But there y'all have it. That's how to install a dash on a 68 and still make it removable. Well, everyone, glad the dash worked out good. We got our upper control arms. They came in today. Hopefully lowers will come in, and next week I can get to work on getting that rear end installed. But that's going to wrap it up for this week. We're just out of time. We got some done, not a ton. Did not get to put as much time in this week as I would like to. And we had some issues with parts and stuff. But hey, that is part of it. You deal with it, you live with it, right? Right. Well, everyone, I appreciate you watching. Hope you're still enjoying the 68 Mustang project. I'm enjoying working on it. This is just awesome and a lot of fun to do. Very appreciative to be able to do this kind of work. And let me throw a big thanks out to Cody. He's the guy who owns this. Thanks, Cody, for picking this shop. You know we're going to hook this thing up. Well, again, appreciate y'all watching. If you would, throw me down some comments. If you're able, hit us up on the super thanks below. And please, like, share, and subscribe. Tell everybody about this channel. If you know some car people, tell them about it. I need to really get this thing moving a little better than what it is. Tell your neighbor, tell your dog, tell your cat, tell your squirrel. If you got a pet spider, tell him. You got a pet snake, we won't even talk about that. But tell him, if he can hit the keyboard and subscribe, we like it. But y'all get what I'm saying. Like, share, and subscribe. Again, appreciate it much. Until the next one, we hope that everyone has a fantastic day.